Welcome to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Jamaha,
Hi, man.
yes, it's worked. Oh, Jamal, you're a legend. Thank you so much for this. Like, I messed up with the time zones. Then we had an issue with the Zoom link. Like, you've been incredibly patient with us. Thank you so much. We're idiots, as you'll come to find out. But thank you.
All right, we all mess up sometimes.
So, well, I mean, I'd love to jump straight in with you, Jamal, and just say, like, I'd like to ask you where it was that you grew up, and was that a place where you felt like it was important to be tough and to be able to deal well with confrontation?
That's a good question. I grew up in a combination of a few places. I was born in Chicago. Moved from Chicago when I was still like a toddler. So I moved down to Southern Illinois, down to Williamson County area. First place we lived was called Cope, Illinois. It's literally like a small patch of nothing town down, but the area is a little bit itself is a little wide, is a little bit bigger. So you got like little different sections that are different towns, but that area is pretty much hold up the same. I grew up there until I was about 12 before I moved to Grand Rapids.
So you moved at 12 years of age. Was that difficult? Because at that kind of age, you know, you're entering like puberty and all that kind of stuff. You know, things are. I think life for teenagers, particularly this day and age and stuff, it can be quite tough. Was that a difficult time to kind of move, change areas and all that? And did that influence maybe like the friendship groups you ran in, or again situations where you'd find yourself in confrontational moments? Because I have seen you on other podcasts and stuff talk about, you know, getting into street fights, stuff like that. So was moving at that age a big thing in your life, do you think?
Yeah, it was huge. Obviously, your environment molds who you are and things like that. As far as me, like a change in me, like personally, like, oh, did it disrupt or move something? Nah, because like where we were at, I was actually ready to get from down there. It was small, small-minded and things like that, you know. I was ready to move on. I was ready to move on and be somewhere else. And I was up for new things. You know, when you're a kid, you're more adventurous and you're more open to new things. So I feel like I was more so at that stage, more so than just being locked in, like, oh, I got my group of friends. Because it wasn't that, you know, most of the people that I grew up around, I was cool with like that down there, you know, they were getting older. We went to different schools. It wasn't like we were together every day. Only people I was with every day was my brothers, you know, so they were kind of with me. So we were good.
Yeah.
And,
Jamal, we see that when I was sort of looking into your formative years, you played basketball at a high level. Why was there a switch to MMA from basketball?
easier to get the results that I want, you know. In basketball, you can be good, you know, which I was good, but and still not make it anywhere, still not do anything, you know, things like that. MMA, it's all on your shoulders. If you don't have in basketball, if you don't have the right team in the game, you won't see success. But with MMA, it's all on my shoulders. As long as I'm successful, I can't be denied. It's the one sport that if you are truly the cream of the crop, you will rise to the top.
Yeah. And that journey, when that started, Jamal, did you start at a boxing club, or by that point, was it an established MMA gym? Did you start straight with MMA, or was it a sort of certain disciplines and it sort of led to MMA?
Nah, I started with MMA. Whenever I first came into the gym, it was actually a jiu-jitsu school, but they did MMA classes after jiu-jitsu class. So I got the mixture of the both of those at the same time. But plus, I've just been comfortable fighting because I've been in a lot of fights. I've been in a lot of situations where, you know, where those same type of feelings and emotions come into place. I've gotten used to dealing with them. Shit, even worse. So, you know, shit. Sometimes motherfucker had a gun.
Yeah.
What? You had a situation where you were about to have a fight with someone and they had a gun?
Plenty of times.
You say that so, but I mean, we're English. We don't have this kind of the kind of gun culture that's in America. Like you hear crazy stories about like, oh, you can just pop down to Walmart and you can buy a gun and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
we don't have anything
yeah,
like that here.
yeah, that's surprising. That's like kind of wild to me because like, if you watch movies and shit, like a lot of the movies like with English gangsters, y'all motherfuckers have guns.
It's
But,
only the gangsters. You can't just pick them up at the local Tesco's. That's the thing. It's not the same thing.
no, bro. I done seen a couple grandpas come down. They got it. Who's son? It's me dads. Whose son is it? It's me dads. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, one of the things that I wonder, did this influence your decision to move into MMA? Because you talked about like wanting the responsibility solely on your shoulders. And one of the things that happened with you at a young age is you became a very young dad. You were a dad at 15, I believe it was. And did that kind of the idea of like, I've got to take care of more than just myself now, was that an influence on you to go, I can't rely on other people. I've got to take everything on my shoulders. It's all got to be about me now. Because it's not just about your future, but you're providing for your children now and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the sense of responsibility. Like I had to grow up and yeah, things like that. More accountability. But did it click like it was supposed to, like right away? No, But I'm a learning individual as I go along and pick up with things. I try to implement them and be better every day. So
What,
it
have
was
you
just
learned ways of balancing? Because I asked this question to Michael Chandler a little while ago as well, because he became a dad more recently at a much older age, where you're obviously going to be more level headed in your 30s than what you are in your teens and stuff like that. But even he said, there's a lot of difficulty when it comes to balancing life as a father and being an elite level athlete. When you're talking about the level of athleticism, dedications to various martial arts that someone in your position, so highly ranked in the UFC, you've got to be disciplined. You've got to spend so much time honing your craft.
got to be
But
ready to,
equally,
got to be willing to leave and spend time away from him. He trains down in
exactly,
Sanford. He don't live there.
yeah,
You that's those are like sacrifices like that. Trying to build your brand, taking trips,
yeah.
and things like that. Just spending time away. So yeah, those are sacrifices he means.
Yeah, but do you find that balance difficult to achieve? Because I know he said he does. He said that you there is no perfect kind of balance. You just do what you think is right at the right time.
Exactly, it's impossible to achieve. I seen this quote. I seen a guy say this once. It was if you if you how can you really win as a father? Because if I'm there, if I'm around, if I'm there and I'm around all the time, we don't have a home, you don't have food, you don't have things, you're not how well are you provided for? But then if I'm working and I'm gone all the time, then you don't have me. So it's
Yeah.
a give and take, bro. So how do you win a situation?
Do you have any like advice that you would give either to yourself when you first became a dad, or to any young dad that might be listening to this podcast now, or watching on YouTube or whatever, thinking, God, I'm about to be a dad and I don't feel mature enough or ready yet? Do you have like a piece of advice or something that you would either give to them or your younger self?
Man, when somebody says they're not mature, not being mature enough, they know that's them admitting and knowing that they're not ready to put that child before themselves. That's what that is, and that's what it is. That's what you have to do. You have to put that child has to be put to the forefront. That child with how you move should be about securing that child's future and protection and provision of that child.
Jamal, what would you say if your children were interested in pursuing mixed martial arts?
I ain't something else to do.
Do any of them like accompany you to the gym or anything like that, or show any interest? Because you've got 6
Yeah.
kids, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, my youngest son, that's all he wants to do is fight.
How old is he?
Oh, he's 3.
Only-
3. My My middle daughter, she likes to go to the gym. She likes to actually she's in jujitsu classes. She does them. But other than that, yeah, the rest of them they kind of do their own thing.
I mean, one of the things that, for anybody that's done martial arts on any level is there's obviously you learn a lot of discipline and you learn, respect for each other and things like that. One of the things that we saw after your fight with our very own Paul Craig was obviously that there was the injury to your elbow. But what we saw that night was you guys were at, having a drink together and stuff. Like, tell me about the levels of respect that you've seen in MMA, like post fight. I mean, obviously, once that kind of pre-fight hype's out of the way, once that fight's done, what's your relationship like with that fighter?
Man, we just got money together. I mean, we were business partners. We signed a contract. We did a deal. We did our job. And anything after that is just like, what do you really, what is really the problem? What is really the beef? Like, cause like, bro, I come from real beef, like real type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, after this, we done fought now, we done settled it. What else is there now? So like, we got money together. We did what we came out to do, see who was better. We had the answer. We got our answer for that, to that question for that night. And who could show up better, man?
Yeah.
We got that. We got the answer for that. So what's after that? Because in the streets, if you lose a fight, you somebody fight, and then you don't want to drop it after that. Now somebody gotta die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious. It's business. It's business. It's a career.
And obviously with that specific fight, it went against you that night. And then I'm interested to know, because you've now gone on an absolute tear and you've looked devastating in every fight since that. Like, tell me, was there any significant changes and taking a loss for the first time, like in that? How did you deal with that mentally?
It was easy for me. I
Okay.
built it with accountability, man. All right, I lost. Fuck excuses. I lost.
Yeah.
What can you do? What did you do wrong? What could you have done to prevent that? Okay. The easy thing. All right, don't let him just pull me down to the ground. All right, all right? Answer that, and now let's answer that. Can I grapple with him? Was it the fact that I grappled? Wasn't the fact that I don't feel like I grappled with him? No. The thing was, I went down and I grappled with him on his terms.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I let him dictate when we hit the ground, what position, how we hit the ground. I let him dictate too many things, and just think that it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's like being in an NBA basketball game, thinking that you're going to be missing layups and free throws, and still the game is going to be close. It won't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damn, I did an NBA analogy. Yeah, I watch basketball.
I don't. I'm afraid. I think it's growing a little bit over here, but no, most people are not really into the basketball over here. But it's growing.
I don't really watch soccer or football or y'all version of football like that. But it's like if this guy's really good at dribbling, he's got a really accurate shot, right? Am I going to allow him? Am I going to allow him to set up and get clean looks, or am I going to at least put something objects in the way? You know what I'm saying? Try to at least make it a little bit difficult for him. Try to make him do something a little bit more on my terms, where I have a little bit more control. Maybe whereas that be cut him off here, so he only has the angle to kick here, to where now the goalie has less to worry about. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. We follow.
I don't even know soccer, and I just broke that shit down like that.
No, but it was perfectly analyzed, mate. Perfectly analyzed.
Like things like that.
I mean, you seem so sort of practical with your approach to things. It's like, right, that's went wrong. Like that, how did that go wrong? Okay, moving forwards. So I'm always interested in fighters' mentality and mindset, and we always like to ask fighters like what their routine is. That moment before you get the call to walk out into the arena, when you're sitting in the room waiting for the call. What's your process? Because we've heard so many different ones from people that will literally headphones on, will try and have a sleep, and we've got other people that will hit pads. Like, have you got a specific routine, or have you got any kind of little things that you do each time, or is every fight its own
I just listen to music. I listen to music. If anybody's back there with me, they say I'm listening to music. I'm turned up. I'm jamming. I'm having fun. fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm flowing. I'm loose. I like to get a good sweat going to where my body's already a little, you know what I mean, already a little after it, you know. Yeah, man. Just make sure my guys are good. Make sure my guys are locked in and comfortable, and ready to go.
And you touched on music there as well, and it seems your walkout music seems to change a lot. Have you not settled on the right track yet? Are you still searching for the golden track, or is it just each time this one sounds good, this is pumping me?
Each one put me in the series, whatever's turning me up at that moment, whatever's getting me hype, you know what I mean, at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It changed. I've had a long ass camp, so it's been so the song has changed. It just
Yeah.
changed at the time, you know.
As Stu alluded to there, you've had a real tear at the moment in the UFC. You 3 performance bonuses in your last 3 fights. Do you look for? Do you thinking about bonuses when you're in the middle of a fight, or are you just dealing with the fight? And also, after a fight, if you've had like either a really good fight or a clean knockout or anything like that, are you watching the rest of the card and going, I hope the rest of this card's really shit, so I'm guaranteed that 50K?
Early on, that's kind of, it might have been a little bit like that, but now I understand how it kind of works. So if you're a main event, you get a knockout, typically you get a bonus.
Yeah. So you don't worry about that stuff anymore. You're just like, if I do my job, it will come.
Yeah, yeah.
So when it gets to that point where you've got the win and you go back, weight cuts obviously long gone. We're always interested to know with fighters, like once that fight's done, what's your go-to treat? What do you eat?
Honestly, I think about all the things I'm gonna eat after the fight. Other than that, after the fight, I'm really not even hungry.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, just think about it so much. It's just more so just mentally builds you up. Usually after the fight, I'm really not. I usually not even really hungry. I usually just go get drinks.
Yeah.
um, Currently on a 3-fight win streak. Your last 6 fights have finished inside the distance. You're one of the most exciting and fan-friendly fighters that there is on the UFC roster. With Glover rematching Yuri and what was a great first fight as well. Blachowicz is taking on Ankalaev. For someone in your position, on the tear you're on, all these performance bonuses, being such a fan-friendly fighter, what do you think is the next fight for you? And how far away are you from that title shot? Because given what I've just mentioned, you shouldn't be far away at all. But it seems like everyone above you is either injured or booked in a fight. So what do you feel is next for you?
Next is top 5. Fight somebody in the top 5. Yeah, yeah. Fight somebody in the top 5. Get a good performance tonight, and try to make my case for a title shot. You know, I want that title. I want to get up. I want to fight for the title now. I'm on that track as soon as possible. Like before, it was I was taking my time and things like that. But I feel like now I'm ready, and now my time is now.
Yeah.
You know, I was in the back. I was in the back while I was getting ready for the Thiago Santos fight. We were just warming up, and I'm just playing out the fight, being in this moment again, and everything. And it felt different. It felt different this time. It felt like it was just. I'm just felt like him. Like who can really beat me? Who's really on this level that I'm on? Who's really processing these things and has the capabilities that I have? You know, and to some people that might sound crazy and it might sound wild, but I know what I can do. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've trained it. I've worked it. People have only seen a taste, a small taste, like the Jimmy Crute fight. I landed 3 punches. You know what I mean? Johnny Walker, the first time I set up the nice clean first setup, the fight was over. Tiago, I don't really think people get so caught up in the emotion and the hype of a fight. They don't look into the small details and things. If you actually look into the small details of that fight, like some of the shots, the power that was able to be generated from in small while we were in those grappling exchanges. They may not look like none. They may look, none of my shots are insignificant. They all hurt. They're all damaging. They're all hard. They're all solid. You know, and just how he was broken down through that, and then just how to deal with the power and things like that. I think people would understand that it's just I'm on a different level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you turned Thiago Santos into a wrestler. I mean, it was that kind of like third round or something like that. He was not interested in striking with you anymore because say that again, sorry.
Shot in the first round.
Yeah, but I mean, he really did. I felt like it was like later on after he really felt the power and he obviously couldn't deal with your striking.
Desperate.
Yeah, that desperation. Exactly. That's what kind of set in. And it's very rare to see someone like Thiago Santos go to that place. But just to clarify, even though there's some injuries and there's fights booked in the with fighters ahead of you, you're not interested in taking anyone on that's behind you. You are only looking forward right now, even if you've got to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, how do you see the Glover and Yuri rematch going? Because if Glover wins, the chances are that he would just retire anyway, maybe. Like, do you see Glover taking that fight, retiring and leaving a vacant belt, or do you think Yuri's got his number?
I don't think so. I think if because if you think about it, Glover didn't defend it. He never defended the title.
But you think he would stay and try and defend it?
I think he at least defended it, tried to defend it one time. If I've tried to with this, there's certain things I think Glover is actually pays attention to certain little things like that, and
Yeah,
title defense. You know,
interesting.
because if we're being honest, yeah, the fight was great, but by technical rule, he didn't defend the belt. So did he deserve a rematch?
Yeah, I agree with you. Normally, I think you need to defend that belt 3 or so times before you get like an immediate rematch in a fight.
Yeah, I think he more so got it because of the state of the division, right? There was no real other clear cut case. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So all right, sure, why not get a rematch? So the closest thing he had to that was the rematch. You know, like if Rakic doesn't blow out his knee and
Yep.
he finishes the fight against Blahovic and he wins that fight, Rakic would have been it. Rakic would have
Yep.
had a case for the rematch for the title shot right then. I feel like, you
Yep.
know, then how things ended with Magomed and Smith. Same thing with them. You know, now if they go in, they have like a nice thing. If it doesn't end in an injury and Magomed finishes them early on, I think Magomed would have had a case for possibly, the title. So it's
Blake,
all about the division as well.
Blake touched on something that you're a fan favorite and you're always in exciting fights, and you also touched on something when you was talking about that sacrifice from being away from family to to build the brand. Like how much sort of time and focus do you have to sort of put on that side of things aside from training and fighting? We've seen that the world of MMA just evolve into this thing where social media presence and all of these things which 10 years ago didn't really have a big impact. Now we're seeing that to have that kind of profile can get you fights and can get you a lot of attention and can make you money. How much sort of time and effort do you have to sort of set aside to build Jamaha the brand?
Um, I, quite a bit. I mean, it all depends on what level you like. What do you want to get out of this, right? So a fighter's life and this time is short. Anything can happen. You can be hot for a quick second and all that. So I don't know about most people, but me, yeah, I wanted to be a champion, but I also got in this for financial to still, to build something to where I can build finances from this. So I spend a lot of time on that side, making videos for social media, going, talking to people, connecting with people, like just going to chilling to learn things, just to hang out and learn new things about business and different, just anything. So I personally think you should invest a lot of time, as much as you can, into it. Yeah.
Jamal, you've been really good to us today, and we know we've only got a limited amount of time with you. I just wanted to ask you like a couple more like kind of quick fiery questions. I was going to ask, do you have any kind of hobbies or ways to relax away from MMA? I can see you doing something now that might help you relax away from MMA. But do you have anything that is your kind of like go-to hobby or thing completely not related to mixed martial arts?
I have a few things. I play video games. I go play other sports. Go and hang out. You know, just enjoy life.
Just the usual things. Just get away from the sport in that way. And your last 2 fights, they've been scheduled for 5 rounds. You haven't needed 5 rounds, but do you have to do? I mean, obviously you have to prepare physically, cardio wise for the difference between 3 and 5 rounds. Is there anything mentally that you have to do different when you're about to get in there for 5 rounds as opposed to 3?
I'm looking to end the fight as soon as possible, regardless. So I just work at that pace for the pace that I choose to fight at is a pace that I feel like I can do forever for as long as I need to.
Yeah.
So I have to focus on that aspect.
I'm always interested to know if you could have fought any fighter of any time, who would you have loved to have had the opportunity to have fought?
John Jones.
Yeah. That would have been an absolutely cracking fight. I think that would have been great.
Ass. Y'all, that ain't done. That ain't done. As long as
do you reckon you would move up to heavyweight?
What? For that?
Would you move up to heavyweight?
That, of course.
Absolutely. And what was more, you don't seem like someone that gets nervous, but what was more nerve-wracking for you, if at all? Was it the UFC debut or the fight on the Contender Series? Because there's so much riding on that Contender Series fight, but less people are watching it. UFC debut, way more eyeballs.
Neither. I was nervous for neither. I knew I was going to win.
I love it.
If anything, I might have been had a little bit more concern for my UFC debut because I broke my hand a few weeks before.
You broke your hand just before it, and you still put on that performance in UFC debut.
Oh yeah, I wasn't finna. I'd been put on the shelf for 7 months. I've been waiting to fight. I wasn't my first fight, and I damn sure wasn't gonna get the pulling out was not an option. That's why the whole Paul Craig, when he said pull out, I don't pull out. I had a broken fucking hand, and I still did.
Jesus.
I've got one more question for you, Jamal. You just said that your dream fight would be John Jones, and there's no reason why down the line that fight can't happen. How would that fight go?
Me winning dominantly.
Knockout?
I think I'll get him. I think I can get him out of there. If not, I think it'll either be that or I think it'd be a really fun chess match.
Yeah. I'd love to see it.
I'd love to see it as well. Jamal, whatever fight comes next, we wish you all the best of luck with it. Not that you're going to need luck. You seem to be totally in control of your own destiny. You seem very, very calm and collected. Wishing you all the best, mate. And thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me. It was good talking.
Thanks, Jamal.
Anytime, mate. We're just going to press stop.